Someone did like that.
Yep. You have alerted the Pikachu.
We're awfully important now because we're level 2.
Yeah. I'm gonna post my post-its on the Twitters and the Discord and all that good stuff, and make sure that we're live. Also, double check my sound, because last time, apparently, the first 30 or so minutes, I did not have sound. So can I get a sound off real quick from everyone, starting with Tithums?
Oop.
Cool. Tiff? Tiff?
Boo?
There we are.
You guys did not hear me?
I heard you at the second one.
You didn't say anything.
Oh.
I heard the
What's
boo.
going on? Okay.
Well, I can hear you now. Zeph. Excellent, I can hear you. I can see you on the audio mixer. Whackman.
Hello.
Excellent. Josh.
Yep.
And Regan.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Bless you.
Regan.
Yeah, it says here.
Excellent. All right. All right.
It's just a sneeze at the same time.
That is everyone then. So, now that is all covered and determined, who would like to give the recap for inspiration? I apparently put that's not on loop. Here we are.
I mean, I could give a speedily recap.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, last session we exited the inn, got jumped. Just prior to that, we had talked to the innkeeper, hashed out a bunch of things, went over our objectives on finding out who killed the late lady. What was her name?
Eris Rosevein.
Yeah. My notes are fucked up. After a long fight which almost TPK'd the party, many downs, many ups, many downs again, and a bunch of NPCs that came to save us, we captured this fellow, and then spent the rest of the session interrogating him and getting tons of goodies from him.
Tis true, tis true. Brief, short, sweet, and to the point recap. You have earned your inspiration.
Hey. Oh yeah, I need to announce.
Just go and make sure that the music I want to play is this one. There we go. Alright. So, we left off as the charm person spell upon Timothy begins to fade. Having questioned him for much of his knowledge, he looks around now, a blank face upon him as he blinks a few times. Fuck.
Yep. All right. Yep. I'll hold up the rope and motion towards his hands. I'm gonna tie him up again. I'm waiting to see if he resists and if it's gonna give me a problem. But I'm 8'3", so.
Alright, okay, that's fair. Can we just forget everything I just said? No, okay, I figured.
I mean, you can forget everything you just said.
That's true! I said nothing. My boss will not kill me for this.
Well, anyway, we have much to discuss. So, in the meantime, I'm going to tie him back up and gag him. And then I'm going to take him to my room and I'm going to hang his hands up on the ceiling so it's harder for him to escape.
Squints.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to come back to the meeting. So, in the meantime, yep.
Alright. It takes them not too long, but you guys do have some time to discuss what your plans are going forward with all the information that you have learned.
So tomorrow we're heading off then. Says Morkeg.
Should we do a quick round of stocking up on supplies? Anything else we might need?
Morkeg will look at him a bit incredulously and just say, "Yes, yes, we're leaving tomorrow. We still have the rest of the day. We need there are certain things and certain people we should communicate with. The woodsman and the alchemist, for one, since they have the means to travel in the woods. And also, I'm curious about what the woodsman saw. We need someone to talk to the church authority in this village to help us deal with these undead. No doubt there's going to be more in the bandit camp, and plus the ghost of Lady Rosevane. Plus, also asking them about the minstrel that was friends with them. What was his name? He looks through his note. Marcus? I should have opened my page. New game notes. Let's see. Marge go. No, that's the woodsman. But
Morbarius Droon.
there it is. Yeah, Marbarius Drune. Somebody needs to talk to the cleric about Marbarius Drune as well. We also have to speak with. I believe the headman has a special objective regarding the witch and the ghost in the manor as well. We should get some information on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And before we truly set out to the swamp, do we still want to go ahead with the Mahir stones?
Oh, of course. It is a bit of a detour starting out, but it'll save us a trip back for sure.
I still feel that our primary objective should be these prison cells and whatever prisoners they may have.
If they came looking for more prisoners,
Yeah, Morgan will nod and say, "Agreed. We do have the rest of the day. We can do all of these conversations, hopefully, before we leave tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
I wish to speak with the alchemist. I guess I wasn't perfectly clear, says Morkeg. I'm suggesting we split up so we can talk to these parties separately. Unless you guys want to tag along for every conversation.
I suppose I could head to the church and speak with the priest again.
Who will go to the headman?
Mm.
Actually, for that conversation, we might need to all go.
I was thinking that one's kind of important.
In that case, what about Marshko, the woodsman? Somebody needs to talk to them as well.
to be charismatic enough to talk to him, and that ain't me.
Yeah, I could go pester him.
Yeah, we need to figure out how he was in the woods to find them dead in the first place. It's all incredibly suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Because
not
now,
yet.
especially since now we know the woods are full of horrible danger, thanks to Tiffany. I mean, he pointed out all these places we're not supposed to go because they're awful. So what the hell is that guy doing anywhere near it?
The illusion that we were told is that the alchemists and the woodsmen do have the means to travel in these woods. So they might have something similar to these bandits. He refers to the necklace, I guess, the mark.
Mm-hmm.
So figuring out what they use, it could be something similar, it could be something different. And if it's something we could replicate for us, that would be quite the boon as well.
All right. For the time being, we'll still have the one medallion at least.
I believe Timothy said they had an invisibility to it. Wands or scrolls or something.
Oh, yes. Somebody also needs to inform the the captain about the exit that the bandits used
Oh,
to reach
oh
this
yeah,
thing.
that one's important. I could also sniff him down for while my powers permit.
Sniff.
Uh, I I've got a nose for authority. Literally.
Usually. Oh, okay. You're not gonna push him.
Well,
Alright.
take these heads with you and collect the bounty.
Just hands me a sack of heads. Oh no.
Oh, something else I wish to mention. Um, this lair we're going might be filled with undead and living, right? Might not be the best idea to go about killing these bandits in this miasma of necromantic energy place. I'll try and get my hands on some boxing glove bolts.
I mean, surely we could kill them and just do something with the bodies before they're raised eventually.
Burning corpses is always a apt solution.
So how many places do we need to go? We need to speak to the captain. We need to speak to the priest. We need to speak to the woodsman.
Yes. I'm gonna go and talk to the alchemist, so there's...
The alchemist.
Why is Word being weird? It lets me open up the Word document, but not write it. I have to click somewhere else to edit it? What the fuck? Sorry.
That's weird.
Yes, there is the alchemist, the woodsman, the cleric, the guard captain, and I think the headsman. But that one we'll do all together. All right.
Well, who's going where first? I suggest we all split up then and meet back here when we're done.
I'll put down which one I'm interested in talking to. Alchemist.
Alchemist. Priest.
I'm gonna go with you to talk with the priest. He might have supplies that I might want.
Captain Woodsman. And Dano and Zorai are both AFK at this point in time. So, while they're AFK, they can decide what they want to do afterwards, but let us begin with, let's go this way first. Alright, Kane. Making yourself to the captain of the guard, correct?
Yep. Popping off noble bloodhound whenever.
Alright, let's see here. Where did I put the guard captain? Here we are. Alright. Making your way out of the tavern into the thoroughfare, you can see that there are some soldiers at this point who are riding in from across the bridge. And there are some who are in town, though they look to be more villagers who were given arms and armor. They don't seem to be very comfortable in their armaments. And they are currently cleaning up the main thoroughfare, washing away the blood, helping to move any bodies you guys did not collect yourself. Essentially cleaning up the mess that was left. However, as you push past, moving towards the keep, where you know that the captain of the guard resides, you would find him outside, currently talking to a few other soldiers, basically giving him orders of keep an eye out on this area, patrol the banks over there, and standard procedures. You're walking up after having been attacked. But as he sends the last of the guards away, he turns to you. And let's see here.
Kane will approach. I'll wait for you to do your thing.
I'm just checking to see what his voice is and all that real quick.
Hail, Captain.
Greetings. What can I help you with?
Got a sack of heads for you and a bit of information.
Excellent. I'll take that.
Steps
off
closer
your
and just
hands.
drops the sack of heads.
Right. I'll pick up the sack and just open it real quick, looking through. Excellent. That'll be a couple sacks for you. Pulls out a few coin pouches, hands them to you. Alright then, what did you learn?
Alright, do you have a map handy? It'd be easier to just draw where this is.
I have a basic one, yeah.
Just a little dot over the shack. There are caves underground the necromancers and their bandit, comrades have been using to traverse the area. One of the many exits is this shack.
That's certainly concerning.
So they've had free reign of the area for a while, which could explain some of the kidnappings.
I thought that shack itself, well, was owned by Dragos. It went missing a couple of weeks back, but that shack has got a bandit tunnel to it. I think that might be or a part of this faction. It's good to know. You know where this tunnel leads to?
He nods and pulls out a map. I'm looking at my things. Pulls out the map of the Noctis Woods real quick. The bandits are heavily concentrated in this area. We found their stronghold. We have battle plans for their stronghold already. Our prisoner was very forthcoming. We're going to go scout out the area after we get situated and see what we can do.
Well, if you're heading out into the woods, see to the priest, and take this with you. Reach into his coat pocket and pull out a small rectangular silver bar, very thin. It seems to have an imprint of the crest of House, making sure of the name of real quick so I don't say it incorrectly, Istrati, which seems to be a double-headed eagle holding a scepter and sword and 2 talon claws. I'll let them know that you have the Lord's permission to requisition basic supplies, protections against the undead and other beasts within the woods.
Oh, nice. A little merchant pass.
We're helping the town out. Least the Lord can do to see you well on your journey.
Istrati, like the Knight Regent's last name?
Strati is like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He nods. You have my thanks. We'll see to this little problem of yours.
And, we'll see to figure out where this tunnel... Well, closing off the tunnel in a certain way. If you need to use it, though, knock in the following pattern. Did you get that?
Dot, dash. What was past that point?
That was dot, 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 dot.
Okay.
I'll let the boys know that you're friendly and not to attack when you come on through.
Okay, thank you. Much appreciated. And I'll be on my way. It wouldn't be a bad idea to potentially use that tunnel to capture any more bandits that might come this way. But the majority of their forces attacked the town and have been wiped out, so you might not actually see any more threatening us for a long while.
Well, that's good to know, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But coin is still on the table. Of course, if you were to take out this threat once and for all.
Next time, I might be bringing a much larger sack of heads.
Next time, I might need a larger coin pouch then. Well, wish you luck on your adventure then.
Wish you luck on defending the town. He turns and leaves.
All right. So you make your way to your next objective, the Woodsman. We will go to the next in line, but before that,
Okay. How much gold was that?
I have it listed in the item lab. You guys had 40 heads, or 4 heads, which is 40 gold.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Since you are back, Zorai and Danu, the others are splitting up, determining where they want to go. Danu, did you have a location you wanted to travel to? Anyone you want to talk to? Anything of that nature?
No.
All right, so you're just wanting to meet back up when everyone's ready and go talk to them.
Yeah, she is. Hold on. I'm lost. Okay, hold on. She'd take a trip to the river.
All right,
She'd poke around in the river.
gotcha. Anything in particular about the river you want to deal with?
Well, I heard there's like gyms and stuff in the river. Something I read. And she took, or I took a lure for it. So just gonna walk around. Most of the stuff near town's probably been found, but might as well look.
All right. That one's probably gonna be pretty quick, so I'll do that one next. But before we do that, Zorai, did you have any location or anything you want to do in particular before meeting up with everyone else to the Hetman? I know you sent me messages about DMs about that. Anything in addition to that?
Yeah. In addition to that, no.
Okay. In that case, you'll be traveling with Morkag, as they are also going to the Alchemist.
Okay, I'll just want to speak to him privately.
Yep. Gotcha. No problem.
Oh, nice.
All right. So for purposes of the whoops and the shoops, I'm just gonna put you guys back to the town map section proper. Here we are. You guys are crossing the bridge. You guys would pass Danu as you do so to head on over to the alchemist shop. And Casimir and Tarvis, you guys would head southwards towards the abandoned temple, which is being repaired. And I'll put you guys on the interiors of that map. We're going to begin with Danu first, and then we'll go to the temple, and then we'll go to the alchemist shop. So, Danu, making your way over to the river. The river itself is not moving too fast. It is still a very large river. It is moving at a gentle pace, though you can tell just judging from the current pace it is during heavy rainfall or during the melting season. The river is likely to be flowing quite rapidly. Right now, though, you can easily wade in it, no problem. But since you are looking for any particular treasures found within this river, you can give me an investigation check. Alright. Looking over the river, your thoughts on the river itself having been picked clean due to its close proximity to the town and just, its nature was spot on. This place is, you don't see anything of real value here. You do see that there are fish within the river, so if one has interest in a food source, perhaps one that doesn't really involve paying for one's food, the river would be an option. But unfortunately, you spend some time and you don't find any gems.
Okay, well, if there's fish there, can I try to stab one with my trident?
Yes, you can. Roll me an attack roll.
Alright.
All right. As you stand upon the about knee waist height within the river, waiting patiently for any fish to pass on by, giving a bit of time before you actually do begin your attack, giving the fish used to your own legs and your shadow within the water. It takes a bit of time, but you do find that there's a quite plump fish swimming by, and with a swift, rapid movement, you jab your trident down as you skewer the fish and pull the trident back up. Fish still wriggling upon it before it goes a little limp, wriggles a couple more times, and at last, the fish is yours.
Nice. I'm going to take it back to the inn.
Very good, very good. All right.
That'll be what I do.
Excellent. I'm going to just change the amberage real quick. As we go.
Since it's on the way, and I don't think anybody else is going to do it, I'm going to go ahead and haul the weapons and armor to the smithy in that area to
Gotcha.
see if I can't sell all that stuff on the way to the church.
Gotcha. All right. Since you're heading a little bit behind, do you stop with them as well, Casimir, or do you just keep on moving?
Might as well. Just
Okay.
stop off.
Taking you guys to the smithy, you would find that there is a bit of a forge outside that a tall, green-skinned orcish woman, shaved right side of her head, long, flowing black hair flowing over in a twist over on the left side, braided in the back with various knotworks and thick tribal braids, long leather apron, basic set of tools, currently hammering upon what appears to be a horseshoe, trying to fit into place. Not on a horse, just molding the horseshoe itself. But she would look up as she... Ding! Hi, what can I help you with? Oh,
Hello
you're
there.
the people who helped out with that mess back a couple bits ago. Certainly appreciated that. Sure, those bandits were going to take away with lots more if you didn't stop them.
Oh, probably. The name's Tarvis. And speaking of bandits, I've got a bunch of their stuff they don't need anymore. I was hoping to turn into coin.
Oh, of course. Let's see here. She'll step to the side and kind of wipe away some of the leather pieces hanging loosely on the table here. Lay them all out, and we'll see what we can get you.
Recognize the dwarves' tent, right?
Yes.
Right. I want to speak loudly enough to where if they're in there, they can hear me. Because I probably know them. We traveled here together, right?
Yeah, you did travel here together.
So yeah, I want to see if I can draw them out and get them to also take a look at what's here. If they're not interested, they're not interested. But you
Alright.
know, if I could get them in a bidding war, yeah.
You can give me a persuasion test.
Ooh, okay, let's see. That's gonna just be. Do I even have buttons? Where's the button?
You can also roll performance if you prefer.
Oh, I'm trained in performance. Yeah. I still need to find the button. Skill check. I haven't made my skill buttons yet. You know what? I'm gonna roll up D20. $17 on the die gives me a performance 20 total.
20 total. All right. Pulling out, giving a bit of a show to your laying out of the armaments and a bit of extra noise beyond what would normally be expected. You do catch the attention of the dwarvish fellow that you traveled with earlier amongst the caravan, who at this point is, from looks of it, repairing some of the broken crates and barrels that were smashed and some of the stuff that was taken from his shelves during the bandit attack. But he'd look up and kind of give it a look over. And he would jabber something in Dwarvish. Do you understand Dwarvish?
I do not.
What about you, Casimir?
Nope.
All right. Ori, the other dwarf, the servant of Master Kranor, would give a nod after hearing the dwarvish words and would begin making their way over. I have, you're looking to sell some stuff. My master is certainly interested as well. Anything that, Carissa here doesn't want to purchase, we'd certainly be willing to take it off your hands.
Excellent.
Alright. Showing off the items, though, all that good stuff, large amount of stuff,
It's not much.
are you showing them only the weaponry and armaments, or are you showing them, like, the gem shards, the spellcasting focus, the,
I think the axe, swords, daggers, the shields, the armor, all that stuff is stuff that they'd be interested in.
Mhm.
I want to say the wand and the armored robe but got kept, right? The spell casting focus, nobody's keeping that. The onyx gems. The onyx
I
gem
don't need the
shards.
focus. We don't know what the gems are for.
So
Actually,
yeah,
it's just a gem, so...
yeah, they're just gems. We'll hang on to gems.
Okay.
And the spellcasting focus is a small item, so it's that's probably more of a general store thing.
Gotcha. Alright. As you show off the wares, Carissa looks it over, as does, Thakim, the, dwarvish fellow here. Both glancing over the items, the stock that you have provided. Roll me a... Let's see here. Wouldn't really be performance. Are you proficient in merchant's tools?
No.
Okay. You can roll me a intelligence check.
Okay. 1d20. That is a 1 total. There you
All
go.
right. Looking over the items, they see that, you know, they're fairly used, is a polite way to put it. There's not a lot of, like, bidding war going between them. It's much more of a, I'll pick that up, and I'll take these things, and you can take that, and, you know, basically, polite, I want that, you can have that, and it's not so much of a bidding war, more of a, here's what we're going to give you for this.
Yeah, that's fine. I wasn't expecting much.
Yeah, so they will buy the lot for standard sell value, which is 50%.
Okay, I'll figure that out later.
Mm-hmm. All right. But having sold your stuff, I am going to shucky ducky you guys back to the temple. Making your way inside, you can see that the temple itself, as it was the day before, is still fairly disheveled. The statue's still broken. The altar, though, still tipped over, does seem to be a bit more polished, as some of the cracks in it have been repaired. You can see the stonework itself upon the floor is still heavily damaged, though there are parts of it that are steadily gaining some of the masonry back to its original form. The braziers themselves do seem to have piles of coal within them at this point in time, though they're not quite yet lit.
Well, seeing that, Casimir will use control flame. Wait, can I do... Casimir will light them. He has an ability to do that one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. All right. And with a whoosh of fire, both of the braziers light up, giving a warm glow to the otherwise abandoned and dark temple. Arren will turn and look. Let's see here. And his voice type was supposed to be that. All right. I do not recall. Did you give him your name, Casimir?
I actually don't think we exchanged names at all. No.
Oh, all right.
We're just brothers of the faith.
There you go.
Was there anyone else in here, or is it just him currently?
Just him.
Yeah.
All right. As you enter the chamber, though, and the lights flicker on from the braziers, Arren will turn, raising in arms in welcome. Ari, you've returned. Welcome, welcome. And you brought another. What can the Lord of Light help you with?
Well, we've come today to ask of your help for dealing with the undead.
Of course, of course. What His Most Luminance can provide, we are certain to aid in. What particular resources would you be needing? Much of our stores have fallen. Mostly just what I've been able to create while not repairing this temple.
Of course, understandable. As we simply wish to ask if you had any tools that might be of use in the fighting of ghosts and honestly the undead in general, considering their prevalence in these areas. Holy water or symbols that might prevent their resurrection.
Of course. Let's see here. I'll move off to the side behind this little raised wall section of the temple itself that rises up to a large archway. He kind of shuffles up to a small bag, push it to the side closer to him, and then begins ruffling through it. And he'll pull out a small cask, put it to the side, and then he'll pull out a small sack. About the width of the sack, or the dimension of the sack, is about the size of a baseball, but, in sack form. These do, and reach into the sack once more and pull out 2 golden symbols from the bag. And that. Alright. Placing the sack, the 2 holy symbols upon the small crate. We'll lift them all up and begin moving towards you. These here should help with any undead issues you might have. Or if you encounter any ghosts. He'll raise the sack. Salt here will help to banish it. Excise it from the realm of the living.
Thank you. I appreciate your offerings to help us in our endeavors.
Of course, of course. At least I can do.
I do have some other questions, though, considering you are more familiar with the region than I am.
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, my combat experience with the undead as it is rather limited. Would you happen to know if they possess any innate weaknesses to the fires of our Lord?
There are many undead here that are particularly adverse to fire. As well as many, if not the majority, are quite fearful of our Lord's flame. Radiant damage for clarity.
Yeah, that's what. That's also what I meant, Smart.
Both of these sources of fire are effective, I'd say. Whether you use the Lord's fire or traditional fire, either will do the job. Though actual flame, a flame that they can see, that they can sense and can feel, this fire especially the more bestial of their kin, shirk away, avoiding its light and its warmth, preferring the shadows and the darkness, the cold of their domain. Torches are quite handy, especially if you must travel the woods without any protection. That said, I'll raise the holy symbols. These will help with that.
Interesting. Well, I thank you again for your aid.
Of course, of course.
Did you have anything to ask of our friend here, Tyler?
Not in particular. I was told that a traveling minstrel was here trying to right the temple at some point. By the name of Morbarius Droon. Have you heard of him?
I have, yes. I've found a few of his writings left behind here. They didn't leave by choice, I don't think. It seemed like they were still preparing this temple for Yothan time ago before my arrival. But writings I had was mostly on proper woodsmanship, particular trees within the nearby area to help build themselves a Lutheri. Last note they had here was a order from Carstein requesting particular resources, strings, smaller tools for the craft, as well as masonry supplies. I've asked around, though, these supplies never arrived seemingly, likely hit amongst the bandit raids themselves.
It is possible, though honestly, I would not be surprised if Karstein failed to send these supplies in the first place. It seems many of the nobility are slow to act in the area.
Very well, could be that, yes. Though, from what I gathered, much of what they ordered was from a local merchant. Not going to get paid if you don't provide supplies. At least not the full payment. But alas, they never arrived, and the temple here remained abandoned until my arrival. Though, now that you mention it, it did leave behind something else that might interest you. We'll move back to the bag. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And he will pull out a small wooden triangle-like device. Very, very small, very thin. Out of character, it's a pick. Don't quite know what this is, but was placed in some reverence on the altar. Well, on the lip of the altar. You know, it's not exactly standing, but
I see.
perhaps that could aid you in some way in your search for this, Master Droon.
I'll take the pick. Thank you, Aaron, was it? The name's Tarvis. I'll shake his hand.
Well met.
I'll hold my hand.
He'll take your hand, give it a shake.
Well, good luck with your temple. Do I think I can lift this or tip it back over?
What is your strength score?
16, but I also have powerful build.
Yes. With some help and an athletics check.
I'm trained at that. Come. Give me a hand. I'm gonna walk over here and set myself to lift this up.
Many thanks. Gonna have to wait for the laborers to arrive from Carstein before I can get this fixed up. Alright. Roll me an athletics check, you two. Oh, my apologies. I'm so forgetful sometimes. I'll look over to you, Casimir. I never asked your name, friend.
It is Casimir. I'm sorry that we did not greet each other appropriately.
Yes. Sometimes the guidance of the light contains all of my focus from such worldly measures as names. Yes, as Darvis mentioned, I am Aaron Umaris, and he begins lifting it up. Let's see here, I have a +4. Alright. And with the three of you, Tarvis, I mean, it's pretty easy. You don't quite need a lot of help. Actually, you think you might be able to do it with yourself with that roll as you're lifting it up, and they are helping, making it much easier, but you knock it into place, the bit of a grinding of stone upon stone as it lays flat there before you.
Excellent. I look forward to working with you and this Lord of Light, you say, in the future. Blessings of Yotan upon you. We have much to do.
Indeed. May Nepalis's light guide you on your path through these woods.
And you as well, friend.
He'll give a little prayer symbol, blessing you guys on your travel as you make your way forward. All right. That is covered. Just seeing if I... Okay, that altar is actually on the map itself, but it's fine. I've got an altar right here. While that is going on, we continue to the traveling to Formajgo. I will place this properly on the actual map when I edit this image, because this is just, one image. But for now, altar's placed. Alright. I'm going to shucky ducky you guys back over here, and you, our good companion Gain, are heading to Majgo, correct? Alright, let me see where I put Majgo. There's a lot of people here. There you are. Alright. Making your way south, you would see your companions, Tartarus and Casimir, pretty far along the trail heading towards the temple at this point as you make your way through a small cul-de-sacs to a rounded building within the heart of the smaller settlements of these thatched buildings. The tower itself seems to have a billowing thing of smoke from within. The door is closed, and at this point in time, just check the timeline real quick to see if he's inside or outside. The window shutters would be open, the door would be closed, and you do not see anyone outside, but it seems like someone's inside as there is a billowing of smoke from within, from the chimney.
Kane will approach the building and knock upon the door.
Alright. Let's go check his voice notes real quick. Alright. You hear some shuffling from the inside. Hold a moment. Just, hear some more shuffling. Okay, there we are. Hey, what can I help you with?
Greetings. You're the town woodsman, I presume?
Woodsman, so what for it? Yes, herbalist, woodsman, gatherer of flowers, flower dragon, hoarder of plants. We'll go with woodsman, yes.
I have come to ask you some questions.
Of course, ask away.
I don't have her name again. What's the name of the noble in the manor?
Lady
I
Rosevane?
gotta write it down somewhere.
Lady Eris Rosevane.
Eris Rose. I didn't have the first name. Aaron.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I didn't write it down again. What? All right. Kane flips open a notebook, gets a pen at the ready. All right. So, you stumbled upon the manor of Lady Eris Rosevane? Or so I've been told.
I am out in the woods gathering some daffodils and dandelions and chamomile. Then I noticed this strange smell. The nose knows, if you find something interesting and new, might be beneficial for potions. So I made my way down a small little path and there was a large building just out in the woods. And then I noticed the body. Poor lad. I looked a bit further, made sure to see they were okay. I saw another not too far behind.
and from the doorway, the third of Lady Rosevein.
Oh, I see.
Looks like
Were the... My apologies.
it looked like the wee ones were shot at range as they tried to hide.
He nods along. Can I just do a general insight check for sake of?
Sure.
He's not leaving anything out, right?
Doesn't appear to be so now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Did the bodies appear to be fresh, or were they left like that for a while?
Let's see here. When did I have you notice this?
They weren't particularly fresh, nor were they particularly old. A day or two, I'd say. Some of them were nipped at. But overall, fairly intact. I hate to know what those wee ones are going through at this point. I don't think the police got to them in time. Gods know that they are... we're still around.
Was it... Based on what you saw, would you assume it might be the bandits?
They certainly butchered well enough to be bandits who did that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say for sure, though. Whoever did it
Alright.
knew what they were doing. So,
I'm gonna give him a check real quick to see if you've noticed this.
Didn't hot roll.
Did not roll.
I did see some boots around the area. I couldn't quite tell exactly the numbers or not, but perhaps the boots are still there. It hasn't rained too heavily of late. Not literal boots. Prints.
Alright. Last question. How do you safely travel through the woods? With the rise of monsters and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, there's a particular plant, let's see here, it's a, what's the name of that plant? I have it in the back here.
I'll move into his shack and begin shuffling around the shelf.
Alright, here we are.
And he'll pull off from a nearby shelf a small little satchel, and he'll open it up and pull out a bundle of dried leafy twigs.
Here we are. Fairly common around these parts, but, time. It is, a great warding against evil. You burn it, incense, the smoke seems to draw away the more bestial creatures. Fortunately, those with a bit more brains, they are somewhat attracted to it. So if you hear some low growls or rumbles, best drop it and find a nice place to hide. But you can have this bundle here. It's all over the place. It's one of the wonders of nature. It always provides what you need to survive in an area. You know where to look.
Well, thank you.
Of course. Now, if you're wondering, a plant when it's not successfully harvested and dried in this way for it to be used successfully. It looks like,
And I'll describe what the plant looks like and how to dry it and how to properly prepare it for use as a ward against evil.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Lucky me, I have a herbalist proficiency in kit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Thank you for your time.
Of course, of course. You ever need any other herbs or advice? I'm happy to help. And consider that one on the house for your aid against these bandits.
Hey, we will be setting out into the woods soon enough to attempt to deal with the problem. Oh, for the time being, stay safe and good luck.
You as well. It's a
then
dangerous
Kane
place.
Mhm.
All right. And with that, I believe that is everyone's particular endeavors. Is the group?
Well, there's the alchemist people.
I
alchemist.
am a banana. Yep, the biggest of bananas. All but the alchemist endeavor, as our group heads on to the alchemist. Across the river, making the way over that way, crossing the bridge, you guys would find the alchemist shop itself, a relatively large building, multi-storied, with the alchemist himself currently outside talking with one of the figures that you were with on the caravan into town. A young woman, black, raven hair, dark eyes, relatively simple clothing with a vibrant blue scarf around her neck.
What are they saying? I have the observant feat, so I think I can read lips.
Yes. As you're approaching and kind of like eavesdropping, as it were, getting a gauge of what they're talking about, to surmise their conversation, it is discussing the nature of her father's ailment and the work that he has performed thus far. He's still very early on in the observation, not really autopsy, but the diagnosis. Yes, that's the word. Thank you. The diagnosis of her father, but it's certainly unique, whatever her father has. Though not incurable. That is what you would get as you guys fully approach.
Monkag is happy that he avoided the sick old man.
Mm-hmm.
Because catching that would be...
But yes, that is about the gist of it. I will need some more time to understand the disease in more detail, but overall, I think he is in good hands. Seems we have more customers. It won't be too much longer, I suspect. Maybe a couple more days, and I would fully have a great understanding what herbs and ingredients I might need to perhaps help his affliction. It's much appreciated that. If anything changes, do let me know. I'm just staying over with friends. Sven. The town guard? Yes, I know Sven. Don't worry about it. If anything changes, I will be sure to send an owl your way. I'm sure Featherwick would love to have some time to stretch her wings. Of course. In the meantime, though, while they are in a stable position, I think it is a moment for other customers. Yes. Right. I'll leave you to it then. If anything changes, I'll let you know. Don't worry. Right, of course.
She'll give a small little greeting hand gesture before continuing her way out.
Yeah, Monkag nods. do apologize for the intrusion.
Um,
I am Morkag. This is my companion, Zorai.
Good to meet you. I noticed you earlier in the town square. Those bandits. Hope their impact wasn't too lasting.
It wouldn't be much of a stretch to say you saved our lives, so he gives a very respectful bow.
Well, least I could do. You certainly handled a lot of them. You're just helping mop it up. I'm Victor, by the way. Victor Jakovich.
Pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
We have some questions. I don't know if any like motions to the inside. Okay, so the house is big and two-story. Like, how nice is it?
Judging from the other houses in the town itself, it certainly stands out. It doesn't have tile housing or shingled housing like some of the other fancier houses in the town. It still has thatched, but it's certainly a pretty big step up. One might even consider this a near manor house. A small manor, of course, but it's definitely above station, one would think, for someone. Indicating that this man either has had wealth in the past, or his business is most certainly booming for him to be able to afford the taxes alone on this house.
Oh yeah. So like upper middle class.
Definitely upper middle class.
Okay. All right. So no qualms with stealing from him then.
Except for the familiar. Yeah.
It's fine. Morkag will like like I say, he's gonna like maybe motion so we can like get inside.
Of course.
And while he turns around, Morkag will be very obviously looking around.
All right, and you'll
as it were, casing the joint.
you'll open the door and step to the side while holding the door open for you. Pass inside. Give me a perception check.
Oh, sweet. Perception. Boop. Oh no!
Well, you can roll again because of your observant feat. I'll allow you that.
Oh, buddy. Oh, hold on. I'm lagging.
All right,
there we go.
that's much better. Zerai, looking around, this place is pretty packed. Shelves lining the walls, plenty of hanging different herbs and reagents throughout the building itself. I don't have interiors for this particular building as it is not quite yet required. Though I imagine with more CAG it should probably be made sooner rather than later.
All right, so it might be weird. I want to insight the interior of this house. Like, I want to know, like, what's the vibe I'm getting? Like, is this guy a neat freak, or is like, if something goes missing, will he notice right away?
Yes.
Is it like that type of?
So,
okay.
Looking around with your 24, you'd actually notice a few things of interest. First thing you would notice that this place is fairly organized. Every shelf seems to have labels in front of it for what herb goes where and what reagent is what. Seems to have a pretty organized system of, here are my flowers, here are my mushrooms, here are my creature parts, here are my oils, here's my, so on and so forth. Here's my station for working, here are my shelf for like bedding and pillows to keep my patients comfortable. Then you would notice another thing of import. You notice on the far back wall of the main chamber here, which is about this section, there is a row of shelving all filled with various books, seemingly based around the study of alchemy and medicine. One of the books seems somewhat out of place, and that seems to draw your attention. And as you look down from that book, you notice that there are some scrape marks upon the floor itself, indicating that that is a false wall and a secret door bookcase leading to a secret chamber beyond.
Oh, I want to know what's behind it. All right.
In addition to that, you would notice that there are some other strange devices in here. Things that, while certainly are alchemical in nature, they seem a little larger than one would surmise. Like, you have your normal beakers and whatnot, but there are some tubes kind of pushed off to the side that would fit tiny creatures, probably small creatures as well. Something that could fit an entire creature's body, like a halfling's body inside of it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So like, I do have proficiency with alchemy's tool. Can I surmise, like, that it's kosher, more or less, like that specialized equipment because of the needs of these people, or is that like something?
Roll me an alchemy check.
Okay, so that would be an intelligence
Yep.
check. Do I have one? That's not expertise. I should have one. Not this. Oh, religion. All right, so I'll do religion since that matches. 19.
19. All right. With a 19, looking over the various supplies here, he is certainly outfitted with expert tools and an expert laboratory within this chamber. Everything here seems to be in fine quality, if not better. However, as mentioned, the tube that could fit a small, tiny creature, that one seems a bit beyond the traditional scheme of alchemical requirements. Something beyond that from traditional potion work and the like into more of a full-bodied study, which is not common, and many places might consider it taboo.
Oh. So there's blackmail potential. Oh, I love this. It's a good thing Marquet has a mask, or else he'd be seen salivating. All right. So yeah. So I guess we're just going in and make ourselves comfortable. So Victor, we do have some queries. Nothing too big. So we are going to deal with the bandit threat. So that's good news. We know more or less where their base is. However, it is deep into the forest, and the innkeeper shared that you and the woodsmen often go to the forest deeper in to gather your materials.
This is true, yes, indeed.
And my question is, how does one such as yourself be able to travel across these forests that have these monstrosities roaming about?
I'm gonna be kind of checking him out to make sure he's not.
Oh, well, I have noticed a certain pattern to the woods. There's a pathway most of the beasts tend to avoid. The areas that I search, most of the ingredients I get from Mazgo, but parts of the wood that I need to venture into, mostly just deer and wolves there, and wolves are easy enough to avoid.
I see. So nothing, no trinkets, no mark, no alchemical concoction that keeps the monstrosities at bay. Simply knowing the path.
Yes.
I'm inciting giants. Oh my god.
That brief moment of pause did seem to give a little bit of a concern to your own idea. You don't think he's giving you the full truth. Zerai, you actually didn't make it. I rolled a 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I rolled hot. For Zerai, he's hard to read. He seems to be on the up and up. For Morkag, though, he's not giving the full truth.
Fucking his lazy eye sees everything. So he's not telling the truth. How do I weasel out of him? Zerai doesn't speak Thieves' Cant. All right. Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I have certain trees marked out in the woods, so I know the pathway.
Mark, you say? How marked are they?
It's like
Is
a
there a
little
specific
X.
mark?
I draw into it.
Ah, of course, of course. No doubt traveling these woods, even if it is repetitively, you would have some sort of map, correct? To help you keep track of the path in question?
He'll push his glasses up top his nose so they're no longer like hanging loosely. Yeah, I do have a map, yeah.
You know, just a basic one. Covers the simple pathways.
I don't mean to be too forward, but could we take a look at this map?
Sure. I mean, not too detailed, I'm afraid. I don't go too deep into the woods, so. But, sir.
And he will show you a map similar to the Noctis Woods map. It's not the same, as it definitely does not have as many things noted. He actually only has the northern half of the map. The rest is not really there. He would have
Do you
the
have anything suspiciously not there?
let's see here. No, he would have additional markers though on his map.
Oh. So to the north, that means it stops after the ferry? Or does it continue?
It stops about here,
Okay, so right before the
right before
horde.
the horde. Yeah.
I mean, I'd say that's suspicious, but that's me. Squints.
Quince indeed.
So what are the new markers?
So he would have a few additional markers here. I'm just going to copy pasta one of your markers currently on the map so I can just, show you around. So he would have markers here on this little island at the edge there. And that is marked out as mossweed. Well, actually,
yeah, I'm
that's
thinking-
smaller. So it's supposed
I'm
to be,
thinking, I'm
reagent.
thinking notes. Like my character would be like
Yeah.
furiously writing down. See,
So yeah, it seems to have a source of mossweed within that location. He then has, over on the western edges within the river's bank, he has a indicator for something known as Carsoon's Drin. Right? Or the letters a little hard to. Pretty sure that's a Y. Yes. Carsoon's Drin. You don't really know what that is without herbalist check.
I don't have herbalism.
Yeah, so that would be another a marker that he has. He then has a marker down here in the forest just across the bridge, and that has some fly agaric. I don't think I spelled that correctly, but I mean, it's mushroom. And you have two more markers, I believe. You have. Yes. All right, and he has over on the lake here. He has a marker for dragonweed.
Ooh.
That one would. Would he mark that differently?
I mean, the dragonweed
No.
would explain
No,
what
he
the woodsman is there if he's out gathering for him.
And the last one he has marked would be up on the banks of this river here, and that would be some nightshade.
Nightshade, that sounds poisony.
It is.
It's
It is poisonous, but that would be herbalist check to know. So
Gotcha.
you can, it sounds poisony just from the name, so,
Yeah, nightshade.
assumptions are easy. But yeah, so that is the map markers that he has. Other than that, on the actual map, he would have the Fenderwind Ferry, he would have the Margrave's Hill, and he would have the bridges marked, the two there. And, nothing else marked.
What was that?
Does he have Lady Rosemary's banner on his?
He does not.
Yeah. You mentioned that the woodsman collects for you, correct? I'm assuming that he has a similar map to yours. This one?
I believe so, yeah. We share notes every now and then. On herbs. I got the dragonweed from him.
Ah, so you do purchase them. We are on our way. Actually, no, never mind. I'm not too very versed in picking up plants, unless Morkai will look at the here.
All right.
Zerai.
Yeah.
Are you good with plants?
No.
Well, one of our party might. Are you still looking to buy? Should we go there? We are heading there.
If
To get our hands on these.
if you gather any herbs, I would certainly be willing to purchase any off of you.
He'll right his glasses once again.
I'll leave some behind for him to regrow, of course, but any
Herbs.
mushrooms, flowers, plants, any kind, really. All reagents of a more bestial kind. Anything at all. I would be happy to purchase off of you.
He'll fix his glasses a third time. You would hear the sound of a doorknob turn with your passive observant, and then a door to behind you open. And from the side door here, a small, thin, pale-skinned girl, long, somewhat curled, blackish brown hair, pokes her head out.
Papa? Oh, sorry. Just a moment.
Of course.
What is this, dear?
With your observant,
I think it happened again, Papa. Oh, not to worry.
he seems to rub his temple.
I'll see to it.
He'll turn to you lot.
If you don't mind, this will be just a moment.
Oh, of course, take your time. I mean, please, you are taking care of a sick person.
Yes. All right. See.
He leads her into the room. He closes the door behind him, leaving you guys alone within the entryway of the alchemy shop.
Alright, Zerai. This guy's not telling the whole truth.
I nodded it. I nodded, Kev. And I look at the halfling, the jar that could fit a halfling. Does it have anything in it?
No.
Alright,
No. Does it look like it did?
Roll me a perception check.
Suddenly, my map. Let me try.
Morkai will be casing the insides, like he did get a Nor, but not that he's gonna get go in the entry points, the windows, try and map out the entire place. Just
All right. Are you going through rooms, or are you just doing this in the main room?
let's see. First in the main room, start with the main room, and once if after investigating the main room a bit thoroughly, looking around, he might he'll whisper to Zerai to keep an eye out for if the alchemist comes, make a sound loud enough for me to hear.
All right. With a 23.
Yeah.
With a 23 on your perception check, looking over the strange tube device that could fit a halfling, it does seem to have some remnants of a liquid within it. Somewhat of a bluish liquid that seems to be staining the edges of the interior of the glass. Nothing on the exterior. It seems to be otherwise pristine, but it has seen use from the looks of it. And somewhat recent use, I would say, with the 23.
Yeah. Okay.
While you're looking that over, giving a glance around the chamber itself, Mordecag, you do notice that there are some windows entering here. There is a spiral staircase in this chamber leading up to the floor above, which does seem to have a bit of an overlook to your current floor. So it's not like a full ceiling above you, it's more of a walkway with spiral staircase and then opening the center.
Yeah. They're probably sleeping above. You mentioned there was a bookcase that had like a book
Yes.
that was in this
Bar
room.
wall's got about here has the somewhat ajar book.
Well, we are just waiting for him. All right. I want to investigate the bookcase, or rather, I want to thieves tool it, not to open it, but to see what's like. You know what I mean? Like checking for traps, basically.
Gotcha. Roll me investigation.
Gotcha. Investigation. 20.
Right, looking over the bookshelf itself, you can see that the shelving unit does not have any traps. And you do notice that that book itself is actually not really a book. It does have a book's spine, so it is got an actual book spine. But the pages inside are not pages so much as they are a facade built around what appears to be a lever that, you know, if pulled outwards, would open this doorway, this false bookshelf.
Yeah, he's not gonna do it now because it's gonna create some noise
Yeah.
and they're just right next door.
Don't do that.
Yeah. What's the title of the book, per chance?
The book's title is known as The Wishes and Whims of Fate.
Interesting.
Funny.
Seems a little out of place considering most of the books here are on alchemy and herbology.
When he stepped into the room, I don't know if we got a chance to glimpse inside, or
Roll me a perception check with advantage.
sure. Perception advantage. 18.
18. All right, looking into the door there, the chamber itself seems to be relatively small. You would notice a few shelves, a courtesy curtain, white linen sheets that make up the curtain itself, and what appears to be the edges of a bed, relatively well maintained. What's weird though is the chamber itself seems to be fairly decorated into that of a children's room. Plenty of like murals upon the walls of various creatures and things of that nature. The book itself seems to have a lot of children's books upon it. You would notice. You would also notice that it has off to the side a small shelving unit that has plenty of small vials and tinctures, likely some form of medicine. As you can see that there is also syringes and similar such devices near these tinctures.
Pediatric ward? And was there something special we noticed on the daughter? Or was it just a pale little girl?
I'll take your 18 as before. With an 18, looking over the daughter when she did poke her head out for a brief moment, she did look more sickly than she did just pale. You notice that her eyes seem somewhat sallow, her frame weaker than one would imagine for someone of their age. They definitely do not seem to be in a healthy state.
The plot thickens. And now Mordecai is gonna feel a little bit guilty from stealing from this guy. Just a little bit.
Alright, let me look at your passive perception again real quick. 14. You would hear a bit of a squeak coming from this room.
Oh.
And some shuffling. A wee bit of, like a muffled cry. some sounds of wood sliding against stone, some footsteps, and the door opening.
All right. As that happened, is there a seat nearby that, like, Marquette
There is a desk nearby. There's also a small, like, observation table with, like, a white cloth over it.
Ah, okay.
So one could sit on that table, as that is generally where he would observe people before bringing them in deeper to his infirmary.
Yeah, I guess I'll just stay like near the library, like clearly not trying to look at the fake book, but
Gotcha.
at the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. As he makes his way out, he'll close the door behind him.
Apologies. I had to administer her medicine.
It's quite all right.
The sick man came with us. We know he's quite ill.
Right.
Quite the collection of books you have here.
Yes, trying to further my own studies in the arts.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You cut out there, Regan.
Yeah.
I heard you're an excellent alchemist and healer.
I practice the arts, yes. Were you in need of cures or anything of that nature?
Because I would like to speak to the alchemist about something personal.
Yes, of course. I do believe I got everything I needed. And so Marquette's gonna step out, and when he's not, like, when the alchemist isn't looking at him, but Zerai is, he's gonna give Zerai a thumbs up as Marquette will step out and patrol his place around it.
Excellent.
Like sneakily, and like he's gonna case the entire.
All right, you can give me a stealth check.
All right, let's go stealth. 16.
Right. Very good, very good. So,
Get up from sitting and sit down on his observation table and say, I came this direction because I heard you were such a good alchemist and healer, and I was looking for somebody who had more information about symbiotic organisms.
I'll fix the glasses upon his nose once again, pushing them up against the bridge of his nose.
Well, I certainly have studied such organisms before. They're not particularly my specialty, but I have some research books on them.
I'll move her to the far back shelf, which is right here-ish.
Let's see here. What does this pertain to?
Just unbutton his shirt and show him his chest and say, I was looking to be healed from my problem. I have not found any solution so far, but my father sort of put me together, so to speak.
Fascinating. May I?
Yeah, I'll let him look.
He'll move closer and begin, lightly tracing the scars upon your body, feeling around.
Interesting. I've encountered something so unique.
I'm going to give him a check. Oh, I forgot about his additional +3, so that's a 30. Yeah, because of expertise. Forgot about expertise. All right, hot damn, 30 total.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
I came to the right place.
Yes, you did.
Ooh. Interesting indeed.
Give a prod to the scarring.
It's kind of alive-ish.
Indeed. You are one, yet you are many. Fascinating indeed.
3, in fact.
I'll open the book open.
3 even.
3.
All of my studies on symbiotes, they never mentioned a trio.
Bodies.
Yes. Always only.
I was too young at the time, thus it would not work without extra flesh. None of this was done when I was old enough to know any better, but I was quite dead at the beginning.
And this brought you back then?
Yes.
Fascinating. Did it restore you to vigor? Any ailments removed, cured, or anything of that nature?
No, it took many years. I could not really speak or understand very well, but it took years of healing. And now I am functional. I'm hoping to be rid of it entirely, but I've been told that no healing magic will do it. No. To remove any of the portions that are extraneous would obviously kill me. So I've basically been told to look elsewhere, and that's where I am here, because I thought you might have a clue of what I could need.
Yes. You've been told true. Mostly. You see, part of this scarring along your lower abdomen there. It is...
Yeah.
How to put it? Unique in a way. It is... The words escape me, but... It is quite a dangerous procedure. But it is doable. One could... We'd need, transplants. Optional choices for you to utilize, but this symbiote could be removed. It would be dangerous. Lethal, even if it were to go poorly, but with the right materials, the right supplies, and right timing, I think it can be done. Magic.
Of course.
Not any...
It was magic. It was magic, and apparently the deaths of many people that made it possible in the first place.
Yes. Shame.
At least that's what I was told. And I was also told that the symbiote was possible. Obtained from one of the royal families in this area.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating. Pushes his glasses up his bridge of his nose again.
I can't say if those are exactly in greater detail. I would need to study deeper into the subject. Just looking at you now, I know that this can be done. If you wouldn't mind coming by daily, weekly basis.
You'll be here for a while, so I can come by later.
Yes,
And we can speak about it.
Yes, whenever suits you best.
Sure.
The more time I have to study, the greater chance of success, though.
Very well. And I will button my shirt up all carefully and nod my head at him and say, we have other people to speak to today, but I will certainly be back.
Of course, of course. Till then.
And with that, I'll go outside and expect to find Morcag out there skulking around.
Yeah, depending on if I'm able to like go around, like Morkai would be leaning against the wall waiting, or would pop out of this corner.
So you would have been
Yeah,
able to
I
go around no
kinda-
problem. From your searching of the window, or from the outskirts of the building, there are several windows, both on the first floor and the ground floor. Most of the windows are shuttered. The windows in the infirmary section over here, though, are open, and some fresh air is being blown in. You can see in greater detail the children's infirmary here for Teresa, Djokovic's daughter. You already got the majority of the information there, though you'd see that she's currently in bed, reading a book from the looks of it. In this one, the window is likewise open, and there are several infirmary beds lining the wall, with the wall that has the window, a few shelves upon them with various tinctures and whatnot. There's only one man inside, and that is Vasily, the old man that you guys traveled here with, who was sick. He is currently heavily blanketed. He has a wet rag upon his face, on his forehead, and his eyes are currently closed, indicating that he is likely asleep. And for clarity, own room, larger room with all the chambers for the
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
come out and expect Morcag to be out and about there. And we'll head back to town and I'll tell him that, the alchemist doesn't seem to be completely truthful about his traversing the woods, but he does seem to know his stuff.
Seems likely. I believe the daughter is the key to this, plus whatever is hidden behind that bookcase of his. I need to
I
come.
believe the experiments he's doing is probably to fix whatever condition his daughter had.
Very
And
likely.
um, whether those experiments are a little bit iffy, that's probably true. He probably does things he doesn't want other people to know about in that hidden room of his.
Agreed. I am very tempted to come during the night.
Well, don't disturb anything because we might need his help just yet.
Don't worry. I'm no adventurer. And he says that with
I
like
smile.
like some venom when he says adventurer. It's like, yeah, it's okay.
All right.
I smile and I said, money is money.
Agreed. And as they walk back, Morkag is going to share his knowledge of birds. And that's his fun way of saying how he like the birds he points out are the ones in houses, and in thieves' cant he's saying how he'd break in. But in normal speak, he's describing the bird.
Gotcha.
Interesting. I can tell by how Morcag is responding to me that he wasn't listening to my conversation. So, I just go ahead.
He actually wasn't. Like he's also
No,
the
he obviously wasn't listening to what me and the doctor were talking.
yeah.
So,
And if Zerai doesn't like want to talk about it, like he's not gonna.
yeah.
All right.
All right, well, we'll head to the headsman where everyone else is going.
Very good. Turning back with your party, everyone finds themselves once more together within the town square, where they can then make their way to the hetman. Unless there's anything else you guys want to do before then. But you guys have returned once more as a party.
Yeah.
I guess while she's gone, I can just quickly go over the thing. As everybody gathers up, my mic's not in its right place. As everybody gathers up, Kane produces this little silver bar with a dual-headed eagle embossed in it. I have gotten us permission to buy wares to protect us against the undead and so on.
Perfect.
The alchemist was not forthcoming, whatever he used to death threat.
The priest, on the other hand, has provided us with a few items that might be of some use against the undead as well as the ghosts we may come up against, producing the holy emblems and salt.
And we got this sack of gold from all those weapons and armor.
Very
Oh,
nice.
wonderful.
Oh, and as for the woodsman,
Yes.
he is not involved in the incident. He was the herbalist woodsman. His descriptor is weird.
Yeah,
He
in fact,
was.
alchemist said that he got most of his herbs from what's
Mhm.
I have
He
the
was out and about
information.
searching for shit.
He gave us a map. Well, he showed us the map, and I wrote down the details if you want to add it to our map.
Mm-hmm. Kane will produce the map and just kind of idly doodle things down as you point at them.
Yeah, and Morkag will point out the like right there, right next to the manor is a source of herbs. More than likely, that's how he found it.
It's a dragon something. Yeah,
Dragon's
never
Weed.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's an interesting one for you. Apparently, the herbalist only gets by using thyme. He burns it to ward off evil.
Maybe it'll work.
Seems a little suspect.
The alchemist uses a specific path. Morkag is clearly like being extremely like not believing his own words. The alchemist
Even
did not
Kane
share.
rolled his eyes like, thyme, really?
Yeah,
Did he show you on the map?
it's telling you the truth.
If he was.
As far as I could tell, the herbalist was being truthful. We'll have to put his methods into practice and see how well they work.
According to the alchemist, there's a path you could take that is clearly marked. But I do not trust his words. Or rather, he's not saying the full story.
Seems that he's going to the woods for other reasons, most likely, and that he's buying all his herbs from herbalist.
There is that witch there.
Yes, and one of the things that he noted was near her, and that's suspect in and of itself.
Gods.
Oh, and for sake of, I did tip off the captain of the guard about the shack.
Good.
Perfect.
It's owned by some fellow named Dragos? Drago?
Dragos.
Naked dragon. He's
Who is this Dragos?
disappeared, or
I feel like his name was mentioned before.
Vamparius, Marshko, Bulak Vox.
what was
No,
the
that's
name
the
of the
witch.
what was the name of the bar again?
The bard was Morbarius Drune. Oh, did you
Yeah.
get info on Morbarius?
Oh, I did not.
But didn't the innkeeper say that he was at the chapel?
We did come across, the priest provided us with a pick of his, but other than that, he resided there and perhaps ordered a few things for the church. There does not seem to be much evidence of his or information regarding him.
Unfortunate. But Okay, maybe I'm misremembering. Like, I wrote it down in my notes. The or maybe I misinterpreted. The traveling minstrel, we were told by the innkeeper that he hung out at the chapel, right?
Yeah.
But but Aaron wasn't present when Marius disappeared. So was there somebody else at the chapel, or was the minstrel just hanging out there?
We do also have information on the bard the bandits picked up.
Oh,
So, or rather, we have knowledge that the bandits picked up a bard, so that could be our wandering minstrel.
I
Yeah.
think
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
From my understanding, there was no one else at the church when the bard was there.
Ah.
It's true. It's just
Okay, I must have been misremembering then.
yeah. Aaron
that-
is a recent arrival to replace the now abandoned and destroyed clergy in the area.
Gotcha.
It had religious implications to it, or was it just belong? Was I could think.
Uh, but yes, so far, the alchemist is high on the suspect list. The worst kind of character too.
Suspect of what?
Seems he's doing things that are not exactly kosher. And it does seem to have a valid reason for it. I am merely speculating, but he has a sick daughter. Sick family members will drive you to do and rationalize the most horrid acts.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he is not raising the dead in his own service, I do not see a problem with whatever he chooses to do.
Perhaps, but it could be related to some disappearances.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he doesn't seem proficient with a bow or, well, yeah, I'm just gonna say a bow because that's what I have for notes. Then he's probably not related to the late heiress Rosevane.
More than likely not. She was cut up, right?
Uh, as the herbalist said, it was, bodies were butchered, there were arrows, so on and so forth.
Ah, and we have the information on how to help a ghost reach peace. Turns to the guy who went to the chapel.
If not peace, the tools to contain and help control it.
Seems. Nah, it's quite alright. So, is there anything else?
Need to talk to the head.
Yes, the headman.
Mm-hmm.
Lead on.
All right. Shucky
well
ducky.
covered.
Mm-hmm. Tiff appears to be dealing with something real quick. I don't know what it is, but
Okay.
it looks like something broke.
Oh no.
Oh no. We can take a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna preheat my oven. Be right back.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll be right back myself.
Same.
Now meet back up at 8:30 CST.
Okay.
Oof.
I have returned. Oh no, Tiff DC'd.
Yeah,
She
they're
didn't DC. Her shit's on fire.
literally on fire. That's rough. That is,
Her
oh boy.
systems are, yeah.
Oh, if they're like literally on fire and they have to leave early, that's
Not like literal fire. Like, what she needs to use to do her job is kind of not working right now.
gotcha.
Oh,
She has
okay.
to do things manually.
Gotcha.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah.
All right.
Working I did have that call. A guy was calling that there was smoke coming out of the computer, and I was like, should probably call the fire department because at that point.
I'm in a game on Saturdays, and one of the players had the computer literally catch fire, and they
Oh, no.
ran to the store to go buy a computer before game start, because that was like 3 hours before our game began is when their computer caught fire, and they no longer had a computer.
Oh.
That's
So,
what you get for running Crisis.
all right.
You know, I bet that happened because they had a long-haired cat. Because I know we have to clean our systems out all the time because I have a long-haired cat.
Why is your cat in the computer? Is my question.
She liked to lay on top of it.
Yeah, it's definitely an
okay.
issue. You need to air out your computer
Yeah,
generally on a monthly basis, if not sooner.
Yeah, it's warm on top. So sometimes she will lay on top of the computer and sleep there.
Yes, it's true. They do like the warmth. Since we are down a tiff, we are an hour and a half in, or 2 hours and a half into the session. We can continue with this conversation, see where we're at there, and continue until traditional end time, or we can call it here. Up to you guys.
I mean, I do want everyone for because I feel like this conversation is important, right? Like it's a big important quest giver. It would be nice to have everyone on board.
Timing's always perfect.
Oh man.
Oh.
I was waiting for that to happen while I was thinking around.
Oh, very much
Oh,
appreciate the subscription there, Skip.
No, the building's actually on fire. There's smoke
Oh,
everywhere.
it's actually
Oh,
okay.
God.
It's even
Oh,
worse.
wow.
Okay. Hope they're okay.
Okay, so I do have a question. So I'm a rogue, and I'm gonna do the annoying thing where I rob people. And the part that sucks is I don't want to take 2 hours of a co-op session, so I do my own thing, you know?
Yeah.
So how could we?
If you want to do some side stuff, just message me, and I'll get to you when I can, and we can do the side stuff.
Gotcha. Because yeah, I would like to rob the alchemist during the night, so next morning we can leave. You know, so this would take place after the Hetman conversation, but
before the party leaves for the evening.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And also, I would. This is for the rest of you guys. If cleaning up what I steal, like laundering the gold I steal by placing it in the party bag. Who's holding the bank?
That's a good question.
I imagine Tarvis, since they are a beefy boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I will if everybody wants me
Yeah.
to. That's fine.
How high? How high is this?
The extra weight isn't going to hurt Tarvis. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. Like after that, I have to do a sleight of hand to put all my stolen gold into the party bag without people noticing, and then it gets laundered out. It's like, oh,
gotcha.
Why do we have 100 extra gold pieces? Oh, well.
Just mysterious wealth. It's the wealth fairy.
Exactly. His name is Smarkag.
Yep.
We have the Robin Hood fairy.
And then Morkag burned to death.
It's unfortunate. For Sithams and Josh and you guys were AFK when this was mentioned. Tiff's work has literally caught fire. So they're not going to be able to join us for the remainder of the session. Since we are 2.5 hours into session, I brought it to the group's decision to call the session here, continue with this conversation, call it afterwards, continue with the conversation, continue session until people feel like a good point to stop. Up to you guys. Whackman has suggested calling it here as they view this conversation as important, with everyone should be around for it, for a big, important quest giver.
Yeah,
I'd be
that's
fine
fine.
with calling it out to you.
All right.
Before or after the conversation. Either one works for me, honestly.
So what time does this game actually start? Because I think I was ready like 3 hours before it actually ran, and I
So
forgot to write down.
this game normally starts at 6 CST, which means I'm a banana because I was thinking my time. No, I'm not a banana. We're good. Yes.
Okay,
6 CST is 2 hours ago. Time zones are
Gotcha.
weird.
Alright. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm calling this the vampire game, even though there's no vampire yet.
I mean, there's allusions to it. You guys have found a vampiric symbol, which is being used by bandits who are not vampiric, and there's like, that's a cool symbol.
There are no
Tyr's master.
vampires.
They do have a big bad boss that could be a vampire.
True.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. That's true. Oh, okay. So, one question. I know there are blunt
Exactly.
arrows. Are there blunt bolts?
Yes. If you see an arrow, like a specialized arrow, like a dragon's breath arrow or serpent's tongue arrow, there's a bolt version of it as well.
Okay, is it the same price? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with us calling the session here due to the unfortunate fire, which I hope Tiff is okay, we will end it here. Let's see if we can raid someone. Hey look, Sean's streaming. Let's raid a Sean. Got some D&D. Let's get some more D&D in this.
We'll give him some love.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Follow him on Instagram.
Yes. Does he have an Instagram?
I don't know. Pokemon the book, you know.
Don't
the
forget to
Poke-
smash that like button, boys.
Smash it!
And raid.
Wonderful.
All right.